Just about everyone who has had the pleasure, nay, the honor, of picking up a controller and jumping into the Halo universe has asked one simple question. Can we make Spartan warriors today? 3 years ago, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Raynor made a great video exploring the same question. However, since then, we've had major advances, and today we're building on that foundation. I'll also reference Installation00, who did a phenomenal breakdown of every Spartan augmentation. But here, we're going to dive deeper into today's real science, specifically advances in one system, their vision. The clarity, speed, and situational awareness that make a Spartan feel superhuman. Before we jump into upgrades, let's do a quick refresher on human vision. So, light hits the cornea, passes through the lens, and lands on the cones and rods in the retina. Cones and rods are the retina's light-sensing cells. Rods handle low light and peripheral vision and are extremely sensitive to brightness changes, while cones provide sharp detail and color vision and work best in bright conditions. Rods are concentrated mostly in the peripheral regions of the retina, not at the center. That's why in low light, looking slightly off to the side of an object lets your rod-rich peripheral retina pick it up more easily. This technique is called averted vision and is a real method used by astronomers, military personnel, hunters, and anyone trying to see in the dark. The retina converts it to electrical signals that travel down the optic nerve to the visual cortex, where your brain reconstructs the image. So in real life, enhancements target one of these three zones: the sensors, the wiring, and the processor. First, let's talk about the lens, the eye's natural focusing system. A company called RxSight built the light adjustable lens. This is the first FDA-approved lens that can be tuned after it's inside of the eye. On screen, you're seeing how the RxSight light adjustable lens actually gets tuned after it's inside the eye. Instead of guessing your prescription before surgery, this lens lets the surgeon dial it in with a light. They use the adjustment beam first, where the surgeon uses a special UV adjustment beam from the light delivery device. That beam is aimed at a specific zone in the lens, kind of like painting a target on the optic. In panel 2, you see photopolymerization. In that illuminated zone, tiny molecules called macromers link together in a process called photopolymerization. Think of it as the lens material stiffening exactly where the light hits. Now moving to panel 3, diffusion and power change. Now, the unpolymerized monomers from the rest of the lens drift into that treated area. As they move and lock in, the shape and focusing power of the lens change, subtly shifting your prescription. Moving over to panel 4, once the patient is happy with their vision after a couple of adjustments, the surgeon uses a lock-in beam. This floods the entire lens with UV light, polymerizing all of the remaining macromers. And the final result is a stable, custom-shaped lens whose power is literally sculpted with light to match that patient's ideal prescription. It's not quite zoom vision, but it's the first time patients can test drive their eyesight before finalizing it. Another company called LensGen created the Juvenile lens. This one is exciting because it actually tries to behave like a real lens again. It uses a fluid optic system that can change curvature when the eye tries to focus. Early multi-year data show solid distance and intermediate vision and promising accommodation. If Spartans needed a built-in autofocus without external optics, this is the most logical anatomical path we have right now. Our next technology is telescopic implants. Originally designed for macular degeneration, the implantable miniature telescope magnifies the central image onto healthier retina. The newer Sing IMT version is smaller, uses a reduced incision, and has shown solid near and distance improvements in 2024 and 2025 results. These aren't designed for healthy operators, but they prove a principle that we can implant magnifying optics directly onto the eye. Now, this is where current technology starts pushing that sci-fi boundary, if you will. Electrico-mechanical IOLs. This is where experimental lenses made from shape-changing polymers or tiny actuators can adjust focus using electrical signals. We're still in the preclinical stage, but the architecture for an electrically driven zoom lens is real. Ocumetic's bionic lens was discussed in the original Dr. Raynor video, and early human data from October 2024 showed people with cataracts improving to around 2040 or better, with expectations of continued improvement over months. Not the mystical 20/8 yet, but it's a meaningful step towards high-performance synthetic lenses. Since Dr. Raynor's video came out, topography-guided LASIK has taken off. Unlike standard LASIK, this technique uses a high-resolution 3D corneal map to guide the laser with micron-level precision. Instead of simply correcting your prescription, it smooths tiny irregularities in the cornea surface, and that refinement pushes vision past 20/20. A major 2023 study found that 87% of patients reached 20/12.5 and around 15% hitting 20/10. That's with zero augmentation of any other kind, just optimized human biology. If Spartans needed extreme clarity, this is the frontline upgrade. And we're just getting started because here's where the things used to be impossible, but not anymore. In the last few years, researchers have started engineering what are basically replacement wiring patches for the visual system. They take a biodegradable scaffold, this tiny flexible structure that mimics the architecture of an optic nerve, and load it with regenerative biochemical cues like neurotropic factors. When this patch is implanted into a damaged retina or optic nerve region, it gives surviving neurons a physical pathway to grow along and the chemical signals they need to reconnect. In animal models, these scaffolds don't just keep cells alive. They actually guide new axons, strengthen existing connections, and help rebuild the route from the retina to the brain. And when those new connections start firing, we can confirm it with flash visual evoked potentials. But the real upgrade isn't the test. It's the fact that we're able to see functional reconnection of a pathway that we once thought couldn't be regenerated at all. This was the first step towards a future where you don't just repair a damaged optic nerve, you could theoretically reinforce it, reroute it, or even add redundancy the way a Spartan's neural interface would. This doesn't upgrade normal vision yet, but it lays the foundation for future enhancements, stronger conduction, or even replacement of damaged optic nerve segments. In 2025, a research team implanted a tellurium nanowire retinal prosthesis into blind mice and restored their ability to see both in normal vision and in near infrared wavelengths the mammalian retina normally can't detect at all. For context, humans can only see roughly 400 to 700 nanometers, the visual light field that we all know. But these nanowire implants responded to near-infrared wavelengths around 800 to 1000 nanometers, which is well outside the natural visual spectrum. That means these mice weren't just seeing better, they were seeing more, literally expanding their sensory field into a part of the EM spectrum that biological eyes normally ignore. And the wild part is that the implanted mice behaved as if the near IR environment was visible. They could navigate mazes, detect shapes, and perform visual tasks under wavelengths that ordinary mice are completely blind to. This is one of the very first biological demonstrations of new spectrum vision, a retinal enhancement that adds a whole new wavelength band directly to the eye without goggles or helmets or any other external sensors. From a Spartan augmentation perspective, this is exactly the kind of upgrade you'd expect in a super soldier. Not boosting normal vision, but unlocking entire new parts of the electromagnetic spectrum. You can also boost vision by improving the brain. Transcranial alternating current stimulation, or TACS, can enhance the brain's natural rhythms in the visual cortex. When tuned correctly, studies show sharper motion tracking, faster discrimination, and improved dynamic visual acuity. This measurable, reproducible enhancement of visual processing speed would directly support the Spartan concept of faster reflex arcs and rapid target acquisition. Now, let's move outside of the body for just a minute and give the wearable tech the credit it's due. A 2025 MIT team developed an ultra-thin pyroelectric electronic skin that detects far infrared signatures without bulky cooling systems. It's thin enough to mount onto eyeglasses. Take that, Benjamin Franklin. On the software side, we have created prototype smart night vision glasses that use IR, LiDAR, and ultrasonic sensors to build a simplified high-contrast outline of the environment and project it directly to the user. Instead of amplified light, it's a synthetic visual reconstruction, a whole new visual field built from physics and AI. Combine these two ideas and we get a credible path towards a very Spartan-like external visual system. Thin sensor membrane and a multi-sensor depth mapping and real-time AI reconstruction, all in the visual field. Now, we've all seen the Anduril head-mounted system, and I'll keep it classy and leave all the kitty kit jokes out of this video because honestly, the tech is next level. It fuses visible light, thermal IR, low light imaging, and depth mapping into one augmented scene.
Alpha set. 1 Tango West container, in the open. Bravo, move out and engage.
However, the operator feedback has been mixed. Apparently there's a noticeable lag, a cluttered heads-up display, and cognitive overload in fast environments. Either way, it's a huge step in the right direction, and personally I would love to get my hands on it. Be the most badass cat on the battlefield. Now, there's always someone moving the ball forward in the field of technology, and that someone is usually DARPA. A recent announcement states that DARPA and SOCOM are testing 3 concepts. Distributed vision, which uses 360-degree micro cameras feeding internal displays. Cognitive offload AR, which is an augmented reality design philosophy, really, where the system doesn't show you everything it knows, it only shows you the information your brain actually needs right now to make a decision. Instead of flooding your vision with maps and icons and alerts and overlays, it uses AI to filter and prioritize and simplify the data so your brain doesn't waste processing power sorting through noise. And then neural adaptive displays, or NADs, which are AR systems that monitor the operator's cognitive state, things like stress and eye fatigue and workload, and then automatically adjust the heads-up display in real time to prevent overload and overstimulus. When the system detects rising cognitive strain, it reduces clutter, dims non-essential elements, and highlights only what matters. As your brain recovers, it gradually brings back additional information so you always get the right amount of data at the right moment. However, that's not how the Spartans did it. Halo creators actually got something surprisingly spot on, because Spartans don't stare at screens. Their armor feeds information directly into their neural interface. They don't look at data, they feel it. Neurologically, this is how we would want to operate. This bypasses the visual bottleneck entirely, something modern AR struggles with. DARPA's N3 program hints at the first non-destructive, non-surgical step towards this kind of integration. DARPA launched the N3 program to develop high-performance brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, that do not require surgery. So no implants, no craniotomies, no electrodes penetrating the brain. The goal is a system that can be read from and right to the brain with enough speed and precision for military relevance, while remaining completely non-invasive or minimally invasive. It's essentially DARPA's attempt to create a lightweight, wearable neural interface that behaves more like Halo's Mjolnir Link than today's bulky lab equipment. But obviously, that's just what's publicly available. So think about this. Put this all together. You can get superhuman clarity via topography-guided LASIK, auto-focusing or adjustable lenses, emerging optical nerve regeneration, IR-sensitive retinal nanotechnology, brain-level processing boosts, multispectral AR overlays. Now, we can't grow a Spartan eye just yet, but yes, we can assemble a first-generation Spartan Vision suite using today's science and near-future tech. Assuming you have a multi-million-dollar budget and a relaxed IRB. And honestly, that feels painfully on brand for the UNSC.
Dr. Halsey.
Guys, thank you for watching. If you're into military medical innovation, regenerative tech, and the biology behind sci-fi, hit the subscribe button and let's build this future responsibly. Or at least better than O and I did. There's a long list of references I used for this episode, so stick around to the end to see them listed if you're interested. If you still have any questions, comments, jokes, recipes, go ahead and put them in the comments section below. And lastly, take a look at my GoFundMe. The QR code will be up in just a second. I'm raising money and awareness for TBI research and support for NSW veterans getting out of the military. Please consider donating. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Stay safe. Stay ready. I'll see you in the next one.